Hello, everybody. How are you?
Hi, Lorraine. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
I'm always surprised at how early people were waiting on here.
I know. I don't like to jump on at the last minute just because sometimes
Yeah.
it takes time to connect and
Yeah, you never know what could go wrong.
yeah, I know. Exactly.
Is my audio working?
Hi, Dan. How are you?
Hi, Dan.
All right, Tris. Hi, Lorraine. I got a message on the screen that said there's a problem with your audio, so I just want to make sure I'm okay.
Oh,
Yeah, we could hear you.
yeah.
Nice.
All right. I'm gonna mute myself unless I'm needed.
Okay. All right.
Hi, Laureen. Thanks for letting me in.
Oh, you're welcome. I like your picture. I don't know what you call that, but cartoon character. I'm not sure.
You're like a Zoom master these days. You know that?
Well, don't ask me to do anything different than what I've been doing.
Can you hear me okay, Lorraine?
I can hear you. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Somebody has birds in the background outside.
Lorraine,
Yes.
I think Dr. Smithy has a conflict, so I don't think she's going to be in attendance this evening.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. Are we all here, Maureen?
Um,
I can't.
I don't know if Jen is here, Mrs. McWilliams. I don't think
Oh,
yet.
okay, okay.
Yeah, Amy, I told Lorraine that I think Dr. Smithy, I think she had a conflict. I don't think she's attending.
Okay. No problem. Well, and if Jen or Shannon do join, we'll be here, so they can just join when they're ready. Let me just see here. I just have to pull up the agenda real quick. Oh, here it is. Okay, well, we can just go ahead then and get this meeting started. I'd like to welcome you all to the Monday, June 15th meeting of the Northgate School Board. Can we get a roll call?
Yes. Hold on, here comes Jen, so I'm gonna let her in.
Oh, okay, good. That's
So
good.
just give her a second, it'll take a minute to connect. Hold on. 1 second. All right. Mrs. West,
Here.
Dr. Smithy, Mr. Ryakovich,
Here.
Mrs. McWilliams,
Here.
Mrs. Lumsden,
Here.
Mr. Gratner,
Here.
Mrs. King,
Here.
Mr. O'Keefe,
Here.
Mrs. Robinson.
Here. Okay, next I would just like to ask for approval of the minutes from the May 11th Committee of the Whole meeting and the May 18th regular board meetings. So moved.
Second?
That was Mike on the second, Maureen. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Now we'll move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Johns, take it away.
Hey, good evening, everyone. So the teachers finished up, so the 2019-2020 school year is officially over, thank God.
Hallelujah.
We are on track to hold our high school graduation ceremony this Friday evening at Alumni Stadium, and our rain date is the next day, Saturday evening. I've been checking the weather forecast. So far, it looks pretty good. So whatever rituals you all have, please do them so that we get good weather. For the ceremony, we will be adhering to the state guidelines for the green phase. We are going to keep our graduates and their families socially distanced, and we are keeping the whole gathering under the 250 person limit by limiting guests to two per graduate. And we're sorry we have to do that, but we are really thrilled that it looks like we're going to be able to have an in-person traditional ceremony. We will be live streaming the ceremony for family and friends who are not able to attend. So while the school year just ended, we do have a lot of work to do in terms of planning for the upcoming year. Our administrative team met this morning to begin working through the Pennsylvania Department of Education's phased school reopening health and safety plan template. We are intending to plan for a full reopening of school unless our county moves back to red and we are mandated by the state to close. We will be working with families who have children with health issues to develop personalized plans to ensure their safety. And our goal is to have a draft plan completed by July 6th. And at that time, I will share it with the board. And then I am recommending that we do have a short meeting July, I think it's on the 20th is when we put the date, for the purpose of approving that initial plan so that we can start communicating with parents. However, I do anticipate that there could be changes to that plan between that July date and our August meetings, but obviously I'll keep you all updated as that moves forward. But I think that getting that plan out in July and allowing parents to start planning for the fall would be helpful. Finally, I want to take a few minutes to talk about the events that have been occurring throughout our country with the Black Lives Matter movement. And I'd like to begin with sharing a statement that was released by the Pennsylvania Secretary of Education, Dr. Pedro Rivera. Over the past several weeks, as communities across the country have erupted in deep-seated anger and frustration over George Floyd's murder, I've been listening and reflecting on what I can do to help spur the change our society has needed for generations. Our education system is not without fault in perpetuating the systemic inequities and institutional bias that many of our communities have accepted as normal. Education is an institution rife with historic inequities in resourcing, inequities in discipline, and inequities in opportunity. These structures must be dismantled. As a leader in our education system, I'm taking my outrage and using it to fuel my commitment to right these wrongs, correct for the injustices, dismantle the systemic barriers, and ensure every student has access to the opportunities to learn and achieve regardless of their skin color. Educators are change agents and community leaders. Our education system is part of the solution. Over the past few years, we've taken steps to advance this mission. We created a toolkit for school communities to prevent, respond, and recover from racist incidents. We've begun to prepare our teachers and school leaders to use equitable practices and engage in uncomfortable conversations about race and discrimination among themselves and with students and families. We're recruiting more minority educators so more students see teachers, principals, and superintendents that look like them at school. Moving forward, we will continue to build and offer more trainings to equip teachers and school leaders to support their own self-awareness and on how to create more equitable and thoughtful learning spaces. This isn't a victory lap, it's our responsibility, and it's a call to action as more work needs to be done. We need to continue to dismantle the barriers to opportunity. We must work together to reconstruct the system so it serves everyone equitably. We need to call on our elected officials to equitably resource our schools, accounting for not just academics, but the social, emotional, and mental health needs of our communities. We need to construct an education system that empowers our Black and Brown youth and gives them the tools and supports they need to be our next generation of leaders and change agents. Leaders in our classrooms, leaders in our corporate suites and executive offices, and leaders in our communities. The work is difficult, but needs to be done. We must use this moment to recommit and move forward. We cannot look back a generation from now and say, what if we'd done more? In my role as an education leader, I will continue to denounce and speak out against racism and inequities. I will continue to advocate on behalf of our students impacted by educational structures that have failed them. And I will lead my organization to keep equity at the forefront of everything we do. We need to reimagine what an education system can look like without barriers. We need to hold one another accountable to advancing these goals. And we need to use this moment, this outrage, this commitment to move forward. And that concludes his statement. So I appreciate the Secretary taking a stand on this issue at the state level, but I also believe some of the most powerful changes occur at the grassroots level. In the Northgate School District, we've taken steps to begin calling out systemic racism and addressing it. The first step in doing this was calling attention to the fact that our Black and Brown students were accessing higher level academic courses at a significantly lower rate than their white counterparts. We address this by removing internal barriers and communicating high expectations to all of our students. Through our partnership with CCAC, we have significantly increased the number of minority students who are accessing college level courses, prior to graduating high school. In addition, we held a district-wide professional development on implicit bias for our faculty and staff at the start of this past school year. While this is a good start, I truly think there's still a significant amount of work to be done. Over the past couple of years, I've had lengthy conversations with some of our Black families, and I can't put in words how much I appreciate their openness and their honesty in sharing their experiences with me. These conversations helped me to understand that I truly did not understand racism and their everyday experiences. And as the leader of an educational institution, I felt my lack of understanding in this area was unacceptable. So I began to educate myself this past year on the issues that exist in our country. And this past winter, I actually read a book that I would say is probably the most influential book I've read in my career. And the title of that is White Fragility: Why It's So Hard for White People to Talk About Racism. And it's written by Robin DiAngelo and Michael Eric Dyson. So I was really moved by this book, so much so I actually didn't even know where to start. But as an educator, I knew I needed to start somewhere. So my initial thought was to have the administrative team read it and begin discussions of the book at our summer retreat. And then COVID happened. And I'm sure it goes without saying that closing school in the middle of the year is a bit of a distraction. And our summer session actually had to be refocused on developing our reopening plans in the fall. Then the death of George Floyd occurred, bringing systemic racism to the forefront. And I'm so proud we have Northgate students who have been out in the community being active and making their voices heard. But now I believe it's time for those of us who are in charge of protecting and educating our children to begin having these difficult and uncomfortable conversations. So as the superintendent of Northgate School District, I'm committing to having these conversations and working with our students, our families, and our community to address these issues head on. And I want to be honest in saying I really don't have the answers, but I'm committed to bringing people together to work towards finding those answers for our community. So over the next few weeks, I'll be drafting a plan to do this, and we'll be sharing it with the board. And I want to be clear that I don't think this is going to be, this will literally just be a starting point for us. I see this as work that goes over the next few years, and it will take significant amount of time, but I also think that it's the most important work that we're going to be doing. Thank you.
Thank you. That was really, really great. Okay, so we will move on to visitor commentary. So if you would like to make a comment, you just have to unmute yourself and state your name and address, and then I'll start a 5-minute timer because 5 minutes is like the commentary cutoff. So if anybody would like to speak,
Sure.
go ahead. Val.
This is Val Pennington. I live at 101 Lincoln Avenue in Bellevue. I'm here to bring to your and the community's attention a statement made on local social media 4 days ago by one of your school board members. On Thursday, June 11th, 2020, on a Facebook post, Ms. Christine King dashed off a series of statements that were not only completely false, but they were also reiterations of things that she said 3 years ago, at which time my wife and I had approached and met with the superintendent, who admitted the statements were not accurate and that Ms. King would be advised as such and also be told to not utter these statements again. Here we are 3 years later, and Ms. King has decided to reissue these statements, not only knowing that they're false, but also in apparent defiance of administration. I will address everything in Ms. King's most recent statement in chronological order. She begins by advising that she was acting on behalf of the school district because she was contacted by an unnamed resident who inquired if the school district has a policy against paying an employee that owes them back taxes. Conversely, on this same matter in November 2017, Dr. Johns advised me that no action could be taken against Ms. King at that time because she had acted as a private citizen and not on behalf of the school district. flash forward to 4 days ago again, Ms. King then advises that that resident that she had spoken to gave my name, and she had confirmed for herself with Allegheny County Public Records that tax lien existed against me on the matter. No such record existed on the official county website, which was also confirmed 3 years ago by Dr. Johns and the finance office. Additional questions are, if all the mystery resident wanted to know was whether a school district employee could be paid with an outstanding lien, why would Ms. King need to confirm a specific record? It would be a simple yes or no question for the finance office. Also, why would Ms. King be an intermediary for that information anyway? Would it not be most appropriate for her to direct the mystery resident to the finance office directly? I'm also an elected public official, and like Ms. King, my power is as part of a board. We have zero authority outside of our official meetings. Does the school district really want administrative questions to be answered by non-administrative personnel on their own time? Next, the website Ms. King used to confirm this information, which did not appear on the official county website, was from an aggregator that is supposed to pull public data from other sources. I'm also alarmed Ms. King would use information from an unofficial source as if it's reliable data for official school district business. 4 days ago, she then goes on to say that the record can confirm the validity of the lien and its subsequent satisfaction, suggesting that I paid my taxes after she exposed me in order to make the lien go away. This was also counter to the information she would have been given in November 2017 by Dr. Johns, and ignores instructions to not continue stating this false information. Not to mention, my taxes are not paid by me directly and are pulled from escrow by my mortgage company, as they've been paid annually since 2007. All of these actions were in service of discrediting a person who she had never met or interacted with in any fashion. Ms. King recklessly and selfishly uses her public office for the betterment of personal associates, even at the expense of exposing the school district's liability for her actions done as an agent of the school district. So I had hoped to share a PDF of screenshots that corroborate everything that I've said. I don't see a way to do that. Instead, what I've done is I've emailed the officers of the school board just as I started contributing. So I sent it to the president, the vice president, and the superintendent. So she should have the three of you should have emails that corroborate everything that I'm saying, and also you could follow along with what I'm about to say next in describing those images. I've redacted the identities of unrelated persons, but these posts do still remain public. The first screenshot is from Ms. King from 6/11/2020, which
Yeah, he's still going.
which shows what she posted on Thursday. In the second series of images, you can clearly see a Facebook identity known as Tony Newsom posting untrue and inflammatory information back on 11/5/2017, 2 days before the local election. In the third series is the zoomed in versions where you see that Tony Newsom's false evidence of a tax lien originates from a screen capture of Ms. King's desktop browser, which is apparent by the open tabs for their school board email, cking@Northgate, listed right there on the screen capture. So it originated from her actual desktop. This Facebook profile posted so many harassing posts that it was deleted by Facebook that same day for violating their community standards. Approximately 3 hours after the Newsom profile was deleted, political organization page Stop the BDC is created on Facebook. The same screenshots from Ms. King's browser are the centerpiece of this new page. A resident who viewed the page noticed the open tabs identifying Ms. King and tagged her school board Facebook page in the post to engage her on that discovery. Ms. King's response was to defend the action, advising she's done nothing improper since it's readily accessible information. Despite stating that she'd done nothing wrong, the post was, however, subsequently edited to crop out Ms. King's tabs from the top of the picture, where it remains as of 7:21 p.m. yesterday when I screen captured it. The Stop the BDC page continued to press the fake lien talking point all the way through the election cycle. At this time, I ask that the next contribution be from my wife, Dr. Pennington, who will give continuity on the same topic. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, good. Molly?
Hello, I'm Dr. Molly Brown Pennington, and I live at 101 Lincoln Avenue. Due to the circumstances just outlined by my husband, Val Pennington, I had serious concerns back in 2017 about Ms. King's ethics, given her direct complicity in attempts to smear a Black man, one who was the first person of color to run for local office in our community, who was the father of students in this district, and who also worked here as the girls' volleyball coach. After we spoke with Dr. Johns in 2017, we received an immediate email from her confirming what my husband and I knew to be true, that there was no tax lien. Dr. Johns told us at that time that Ms. King was acting as a private citizen, so there would be no recourse. I was not satisfied or comforted by that response, and I told Dr. Johns that I would speak out about these events in the future. 4 days ago, I mentioned Ms. King's actions in a comment on Facebook. 4 days ago, in response to me, Ms. King again renewed her false claim about this tax lien and also openly admitted that she was acting not as a private citizen, but as an agent of the school board in 2017. She plainly states in her comment that she inquired with the chair of finance, who then queried the school solicitor, to see if it was possible to stop paying my husband's school salary because of a tax lien. She admits in her comment that she was doing this at the behest of another resident who asked about my husband specifically. So she has now in 2 incidents used false information against myself and my husband on social media and has admitted that she checks up on info from residents about other residents and uses school resources to do so. She also called my story about what happened a lie and demanded that I not assess her actions as racist. In fact, I locate her actions within a broadly structural racist tradition where candidates of color are bullied and undermined by the very community in which they seek representation. Our country has a long history of intimidation, hostility, and violence, including murder toward Black political candidates and Black voters. The use of this false tax lien info plays into racist stereotypes about Black people. Heinous dog whistles that signal people of color are untrustworthy, bad with money, irresponsible, less. My husband did not and does not have a tax lien. Christine King has lied. But even if he had, her attempt at economic shaming is particularly abhorrent. Having a tax lien is not an indication that a person lacks character or value or is unfit for public office. Ms. King has walked through my family's home during the local house tour, but my only other interaction with her was when I questioned her answer to a question about race at the candidate forum. She advocated for colorblindness. Colorblindness perpetuates racism and is a form of racism. As well, it is racist to use a false allegation about a Black man in order to drum up fear and destroy his credibility. Ms. King has demonstrated she has no serviceable understanding of race or diversity issues. Who else on this board shares these limitations? I ask because structural racism is a crisis that requires urgent redress. It is time for this district and board to prioritize an understanding of racism and the insidious ways it is deployed. Ms. King wants to disparage my husband. If you let her, how do we trust that she can serve the best interests of his children, as well as other children here? Please don't sweep under the rug for a second time the issues I bring before you tonight or imply they don't matter. I demand Christine King's immediate resignation on the grounds that she has no demonstrable understanding of racism or diversity, shuts down conversations on these issues, and has demonstrated alarming and unethical targeted attacks toward a Black father with children in this district. I demand a public apology from this board and administration for allowing use of school resources, including potentially official email communication, to undermine a parent of color. I demand an inquiry into how Ms. King has used school resources at the behest of private residents, and if these uses disproportionately target people of color or support political motives. I demand this board implement policy to prevent actions like the ones here described by Ms. King. I demand Ms. King be urged to listen to these concerns and not retaliate or organize for others to do so on her behalf. I demand that taxpayer interests and tax liens cease being a priority of this governing board. To remind, you serve the children of this district, including the Black children, not the taxpayers. Most importantly, I demand an immediate engagement with systemic racism by this board and demand an overhaul of district curriculum with a specific focus to address white supremacy and implicit bias. Black Lives Matter. Do better for the children of color in this district starting right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I have something to say.
Oh, okay. Well, yep, just state your name and address for the official record.
I'm John King. I live at 448 Tees Avenue. And I'm here in defense of my wife. And I have to say, what I just listened to was completely false. And I really feel, Val, that you, as a president of the council, attacked my wife recently. Okay, you called her a liar. She didn't lie to you. And she also asked to speak with both of you so you could understand exactly what happened. And you refused. You want to make it like Christine is like some awful person who doesn't care about the people in the community. It's so false. And all that I just listened to was jibber jabber. And I really feel like if you really want to do something, for the community, Val and Molly, and you really feel that way, then I suggest we hold a Martin Luther King Bellevue Day, where everybody comes out and we can talk about what's bothering you, what's bothering somebody else, or the things you say to people. I don't think they're really the greatest. I mean, you really say some upsetting things to people. And if you would talk to Christine, you would see that she really had nothing to do with that, except for a person asked her to find out if it was illegal for a person working in the school district to owe tax money. That's what the person, and this is so ridiculous. And it really hurts to see that both of you are so divisive. So I'm calling one more time. I'm saying, if you really want to heal the community, Molly, let's do it. Let's have something like a Martin Luther King Day where we can all sit in the park. Maybe we can get somebody like RJ to mediate it and talk about our problems. But what I just listened to was all falsehoods and lies. Thank you.
I find your statement utterly offensive. I'm sorry. I just have to say that. That's ridiculous. And I'm just speechless right now. I can't not address that. I had to say that. I'm sorry. That is utterly ridiculous.
Okay.
I would agree.
Okay, Mike. Okay, does anybody else have any comments?
Hi, Julie Helbling, 558 Tees Avenue. I actually want to speak on two topics. I hope I can get through the first one fast enough to get to the second one. I wanted to speak about some budget decisions, but I do want to just kind of address some of the conversation that just occurred. Not really being around, what was going on in 2017 and not really being engaged in any of that, and just only knowing what I'm hearing right now. I know that, folks can have different views on things, different perspectives. I hope that whatever transpires because of the discussions and the concerns that the Penningtons had, that some due process is given, so that whatever happened, I don't know. I mean, that's all I can say. You know, I know all of you essentially in some respect, most of the school board members. I know Christine. I could, you know, just personally, I couldn't imagine Christine doing anything that would be driven by her desire to tarnish somebody because of their color, you know. So, and that's just my personal opinion. I can say that with all my heart, and I truly hope that, you know, and I respect everybody's opinions. I respect the folks that came and spoke. They were obviously hurt in some way. Interpretations on things can be different. How things transpired, but you know, I don't have the details. I can't really rebut things, but I truly hope that there's some sort of due process or due whatever you call it, to investigate and get to the bottom of what truly transpired, because I don't want to see anybody hurt in this community. I'm feeling.
Yeah, you want me to finish? Can I take my couple minutes that don't belong to her?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. So how much time do I have left, Amy?
3 minutes.
Okay. So that being aside, if I can, you know, I hope this isn't looked at as sort of tone deaf, you know, but I just one thing I want to say about the budget, you know, and obviously that's what I came to speak about, but I did want to address the comments that were made, because I believe the budget's getting, I'm sorry, voted on tonight. Again, you know, we're past the point of discussing the budget. Just one thing, again, budget numbers that I want you all to keep in mind, okay? What you all to be thinking about. You know, when I kind of crunched the numbers, you know, at the beginning of this year, we had $9.2 million in our fund budget. You know, I kind of redid what we used of it based on the finance committee meeting. We're using about 1.8 of it this year. We have 7.4 left. We're budgeting to use 2.8 million. That leaves us about $4.5 million in our fund budget. Again, just want you all to be very prudent and think about, you know, how we're spending our money moving forward. At the rate we're using our fund budget, in my mind, even with borrowing some money, that only gives us about 3 or 4 years of financial kind of stability, you know. So I just want to get that out there. You know, again, I apologize for kind of shifting gears in the middle of all this, but, you know, I only get 5 minutes. So just wanted to really enforce that you guys really, really need to think about the future of our school district and what that means with our funds dissolving. That's it.
Do I still get 5 minutes?
Yeah, you just have to, you can state your name and your address, and I'll just start the clock over.
Okay, I only need a couple. Mark
Okay.
Helbling, same address, 558 Tees Avenue, Bellevue. I care about everything that's been said, but I do want to say this, there's two sides to every story, so I'd like to hear the other side of the story, whether it's today or at some point how this all happened. And that's the important part. I'd like to hear Christine's side. I hope she gets to speak. And it all matters, and I'm not saying that it doesn't. On the other side, to all you board members, who most of you are my friends, so you can't tell me that one person is more of a friend than the other, so I want to say this. I noticed at all these meetings I attend and from different things that Christine King, who digs into the finances, takes a beating from some of you, and it's disturbing. And so I hope that you start to realize that she is an expert in finance. That's her field. So when I was on council, what we would do is try to utilize each other's skills. And for some reason, you guys get annoyed at it sometimes. You have a sinking school. I like all of you. The school's sinking, and most of us out here are really happy that she's digging into these numbers. And some of you don't understand it, and some of you do. Some of you think you understand it, but you don't. And sometimes it's better to realize that you're smart enough to know what you don't know. So please, when I say all that, this budget and all these things are so critical, because I don't want to see this school go down. I don't want to see any more excuses is because the government took our money away or whatever happened. We need solutions. But the reason I'm saying all this now about Christine is please don't be biased upon her because you're aggravated at her recent work she's doing on the finance. Please give her a fair chance to discuss this matter with the Penningtons over the issue with the Penningtons and the issue that took place. So I don't want to see any more, her take a beating anymore because of the past, and this is now another issue. So please take that serious. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else have any visitor commentary?
Hi, this is Linda Worshner, 137 South Euclid Avenue. I'd like to hear the other side of the story too, because truthfully, there's been no one more bashed in this community than me. And I didn't always have the opportunity to give my side of the story. So I would like to hear that side of the story as well. Also, I'd like to know, how many grants have you applied for this year? Any?
We've applied for a number of grants and received them. I don't know off the top of my head the number, but we could go back and count those up.
Yeah, that's something that's important to me. I was the person on council that was always looking, how we can get the money and apply anywhere that we could. Also, I had a concern that there was questions about the amount of money used for free lunches. And we were talking something like, I think it was an array, a lot of different figures, but 44,000 was in my mind. But I didn't really feel that there was that much concern when we were talking about 3.5% increase in wages for employees. And that is my concern, that we're looking at the small stuff, but we're not looking at the big picture, because how are we going to pay for this? I think someone said that there was a 9% increase in employee costs, and please correct me if that figure is wrong, but I have a concern that we have to look for the long run. And here, we haven't had 3.5% inflation for at least the last 10 years. And so I just don't know how that figure came about. And that affects many things, not only the wages, but pension and benefits. And so that's a big concern of mine, that, we're not looking at the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anybody else?
I guess, Amy, I'll just, I wrote a little statement, and I did send an email to the board yesterday. And I guess I'm just going to read what I wrote, and we can continue. I would like to continue the conversation. But I think this just kind of indicates where this came from. I'm not talking about the tax stuff. I actually think that's quite, it was posted, as I indicated, to a page that I didn't administer. I didn't distribute that to be posted. And that's not even really what I want to talk about right now. I think that could be pretty easily ascertained if somebody wanted to look into that. And also any communications that I've had with the board, never personal about Mr. or Mrs. Pennington, but this is just something that kind of a thought process that I went through when I was thinking about, how did we end up here? And we're talking about something that happened, 2.5 years ago. But this is just what I wanted to say. So in October of 2017, I, along with other candidates for school board and council, participated in a forum sharing our views on a variety of issues related to education. One question asked how I thought Northgate handled diversity. My response more than 2 years ago was that I did not see Northgate differentiating between Black and white children, but celebrating each child. I've since learned and realized that stating it this way, or specifically as Ms. Brown said, using the term colorblindness, which I did, could be construed to mean that I didn't believe discrimination was possible or even occurring in our district. I realize that this isn't true, and I meant no offense by this response. As Dr. John just indicated, we are all growing, and we're all growing in the very recent history and now. But perhaps that response triggered the resulting Facebook accusations and the cruel assault on my character and intent for running for school board. The day after that debate, Ms. Brown via Facebook asked my reason and intentions for running for school board. One of her questions was actually, do you want to defund special education? I was stunned. I had never met her. I couldn't imagine why someone who doesn't know me would ask that. Quite obviously, I cared about, at that time, mostly I cared about the educational opportunity for our students. I certainly still care about that, but I also care now about the financial going concern of the district. So that's what I wanted to say. I don't want to talk anymore about there's anything else except that, you know, and I did ask to meet or to discuss with them everything that's breaking down in our society. I feel goes back to people not being willing to talk to each other. So that's all I wanted to say. So I'm really saddened that it came to this, and that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, all right. Anyone else out there? I just, you know, I just wanted to say a few things. I first wanted to thank all of you for coming and sharing, because I know, you know, that's really important. We can only be as good as the people around us. So hearing from our community members is really, really helpful. And then also too, I wanted to just sort of say it's a very difficult time. And I'm really, really happy and encouraged hearing Dr. Johns' superintendent report. I think that, you know, there's a lot yet to discuss, but I think that we're sort of, you know, going in the right direction. I'm not really sure exactly, you know, the next steps for some different things, but I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for sharing your concerns. And in regard to the budget, our finance committee works really, really diligently to stay on top of things. I think just, well, you know, I'm happy to hear feedback. I think the one thing for our previous council members who are on the phone that you might not be aware of is that being on the school board is a lot different than being on council, because one thing that council members of boroughs enjoy is a little bit more independence when it comes to making decisions, providing services. There's a lot of things. A lot of people can, you know, you can say it's just an excuse that we don't have money, but a lot of the problems that are being caused right now are lack of education and defunding of programs that for students who need stuff. And so I just want you to take that and just, you know, think about that a little bit. It's not quite as simple as being on council, but you know, we do apply for grants. Dr. Johns has been doing an excellent job. Her staff is just knocking it out of the park, so to speak, when it comes to funding, because, you know, definitely I think one thing we can all agree on is that we want Northgate to be here and serve all of the members of our community, and we want that to be happening for a long time. You can't ask us to make cuts and not impact the quality of education, the quality of our services for all students. You know, there's a lot of things, and it's really impossible. It doesn't work in the business world. It doesn't work anywhere. When you cut things, you have to make sacrifices. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. And then, you know, we'll follow up with different members of the community accordingly on some of this other stuff. Does that sound right, everyone? Trish? Yeah, okay, fabulous. All right, so then we can let's see here, let's just keep going here. We'll go to the treasurer's report for May 2020.
Okay, I move for the approval of the treasurer's report for May 2020 as found in Addendum 1.
Second, Jen.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. And now we'll start off with items for action, Buildings and Grounds Committee.
All right. I got a barking dog on cue here. Use of facility requests for West Penn football officials. It's recommended the board approve the request of the West Penn football officials to use Northgate High School for their meetings on Tuesday evenings, 7 to 8:15 p.m. on August 4th to October 13th, 2020, contingent upon agreeing to a mutual hold harmless agreement. So moved.
Second, Jen.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, opposed? All right, next up is Education Committee. Oh,
I'm going to take that. Amy?
yeah, yes, please.
Summer school teachers. It is recommended the board approve 2 teachers, Mr. Mike Bitchko and Mr. Rob Craycraft, to act as facilitators for summer school, not to exceed 14 days each. So moved.
Second, Jen.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Next, we have, very excited about this, the purchase of the Seesaw program. We need more seesawing. It is recommended the board approve the purchase of the Seesaw program for use with pre-K through 2nd grade at a cost of $1,100. So moved.
Second, Amy. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Okay, MOU Boys and Girls Club. It is recommended the board approve an MOU with the Boys and Girls Club of Western Pennsylvania for the teen outreach program at no cost to the district. So moved.
Second, Jen.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. And
Sorry.
yep, last one.
A TSI plan. It is recommended the board approve the additional targeted support and improvement plan at the middle high school. So moved.
Second, Mike?
All right, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, moving right along, we have athletic committee.
So athletic director, it is recommended the board approve Mr. Brian Kyle as athletic director for the 2021 school year at a stipend amount of $3,750, which is the same as last year. So moved.
Second, John.
Okay, any discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Athletic supplementals. It is recommended the board approve the following athletic supplemental contracts for the fall of the 2021 school year as shown below, contingent upon submission of acceptable clearances. So move.
Second, Amy. Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And guidelines for return to sports. It is recommended the board approve the guidelines for return to sports during COVID-19 documents. So move.
Second, Mike?
Okay, good. Any discussion on that?
That document is crazy.
It's
Just
crazy. It is crazy. Yeah, okay, great. And anything else?
Sorry, that's not real helpful, but
No, I know, I got it. It is definitely, it's definitely gonna make it a little more complicated, but
Please see the reopening plan, Mr. Gratner.
yeah, no, I was thinking that same thing. I was like, this is nothing compared to like an entire school. So,
Reserve
but
my comments for that time.
it is exciting, and I just like to say thanks for everyone who's helped getting that moved along, because it is one thing that I think our students, our athletes especially, be excited to have something back that's a little add to their routine a little, but still keep them safe.
But it does comply with the requirements that just so everyone knows, these are not things that Northgate just made up. They are the requirements that the governor and the Department of Education put out, that we have to adhere to in order to begin sports.
Yes, that is a very important piece of information. Thank you. Okay, all those in favor? Did we already do that?
No.
No. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Okay, Finance Committee is up next.
Okay. Bill list. It is recommended the board ratify the May 2020 bill list bond and addendum 2. So moved.
Second.
Was that you, Lene?
Yes.
Okay, second from Lene. Okay, discussion. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right.
Final general fund budget. It is recommended the board approve the final general fund budget for the 2020-21 school year with expenditures in the amount of $26,198,826 at a tax rate of 25.5 mils. See addendum 3. So moved.
Second, John.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes, I'll just make a comment, Amy, kind of you guys have all heard this before, but, my big concern, we obviously aren't having a tax increase this year. I didn't think there was any discussion of it, even as a possibility, with what's happening, and I support that. And we're expecting, local revenues to be naturally much lower, and that all seems reasonable. But I also think, what we're pulling from the general fund, even if we looked at a normal year, again, is just unsustainable. So, I wouldn't have wanted a tax increase, but it almost doesn't make sense for us to say, we can have a budget without a tax increase, and then we could also have a budget with expenses that, we're saying are kind of bare bones, as low as we can go. I know Dr. John said, they really cut as deeply as they could, on, non-salary and benefit items to the point that they wouldn't be able to do that again. It's not sustainable. So that really has me concerned that, we've made cuts that still put us in such a hole. So I am concerned. I'm concerned about building improvements that I fully believe we need and would need to borrow for. And I really don't see how we pay it back. So I'm not saying we're taking the easy way out, but I really think we needed to do more work to at least show how do we do this. Like we can't even max tax rates won't get us out of this. So I want a school district. I want Bellevue and Avalon to have a school district, and COVID is certainly speeding that up. And my concern also is that we're not going to see any additional funds come our way, unfortunately, because we're seeing enrollment declines, and we're kind of a landlocked community. We're not going to get a bunch of businesses moving in here or high rises. So I just wanted to say, I feel like we probably need, I was hoping to try to foster more of a realistic view of how we get and stay sustainable. So I'm going to vote no. We don't have the tax increase, but I feel like I wanted us to do some harder work to try to get it more in line with something that will be viable for the next beyond the next 3 to 5 years.
That's okay, great. Thank you for that. Definitely, I think that I would be like just remiss if I didn't mention that this problem has been a problem we've been dealing with for many years. And I think you're correct in stating that COVID definitely put a kink in things for us. I think we were just trying to sort of wrap our head around something. But at the end of the day, like, I think unfortunately we're in the position that if we cut more, our district is going to suffer, our students are going to suffer. And I will say, I've said it, you know, to the board, I've said it at board meetings, is that, and I think I'm on the right page. If I'm not, I will say that the direction that the board has given to the superintendent is that we're not interested in continuing to cut and cut and cut and take away. I mean, I'm not interested in doing that. I'm interested in sort of providing the best that we can. I mean, I know what you're saying. We've cut a lot. We've done some things. We went through a couple of big furloughs not that long ago, which were really detrimental, and we're just starting to recover from them now. So I don't have the answers. I know we did formally reach out to neighboring districts about the idea of you know, some sort of merger. And right now, the way that it's set up, we're not allowed to force anyone to merge with us. So we did officially do that. I know taxes are a concern, you know, but I don't think anyone's here trying to spend our money so that we run out of money. And I just wanted to, you know, make sure to put that out there. So it's definitely a tricky situation. I totally respect your position. Every member of the board has to do what their conscience tells them to do. So I wanted to make sure everybody sort of, you know, understood that this problem isn't new. We've known it's been going on for a long time, and we've certainly been trying to do different creative things to ensure the longevity of the Northgate School District.
Amy, may I speak when you're done?
Oh yeah, I'm done. Go for it. Take it away.
I am new to the school board, and I don't know all the workings of how the budget works. I do see our administrative team working hard. I don't know what cuts would look like other than what has already been proposed. I am just very fearful that we will have nowhere to go in a few years. So I'm just putting it out there to our guests and to my colleagues on the board that, you know, Amy, you stated we've done some creative things. I say, let's just get creative like we've never gotten creative before. My whole thing is there's no bad idea, because even if we submit ideas that aren't workable, those ideas that aren't workable might lead us to the answer that we need. So I would just encourage all of you who, whether you have children in the district or not, if you have an idea that, you know, starts with, well, we ought to, or they ought to, or we should, or wouldn't it be neat if, I would just ask you to finish those sentences and email us or contact us, you know, in some way, so that we can throw all those ideas out there, because we do have, you know, a few years left at least, but we want it to be longer. We want those of you who have children in elementary school to be able to see them move up to the middle school and high school. So I will be voting for this budget. But I would just say that for the next year, you know, hit us hard with your ideas. You know, for me, it's all about working together. So thank you.
Okay, all right. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add? Okay. All right. Well, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay. Okay, let's see here. I think real estate duplicates are next.
Real estate duplicates is recommended the board approve the real estate duplicates for 2021 to be charged to the Avalon and Bellevue tax collectors as follows. Total assessed value Avalon, $184,476,900, and Bellevue, $312,800,000. $925,563. Amount charged, Avalon, $4,704,161, and Bellevue, $7,979,602. So moved.
Second, John.
Discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Right.
Ready?
Yep, totally ready.
General insurance. It is recommended that the board approve the purchase of the following insurance policies from CM Regent Insurance Company for the 2020-2021 year, July 2020 to June 30th, 2021 fiscal year at the cost shown. Property insurance, $28,871. Equipment breakdown coverage, $4,263. General liability with law coverage, $12,704. Commercial crime policy, $405. Commercial auto policy, $2,833. Educators legal liability coverage, $14,148. Excess liability coverage, $5,556. Cyber insurance, $4,216, which is new. Total, $72,996. $2,265 increase from 2019-20, not including the new cyber coverage. So moved.
Second, Dan.
Any discussion on that? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Student insurance. Athletic. It is recommended that the board approve United States Fire Insurance Company and AIG Insurance Company Plan AAA to provide coverage to students while participating in interscholastic athletic programs, band, cheerleading, and/or school-sponsored activities at a cost of $9,950 for the 2020-2021 school year, which is the same as the current year premium. So moved.
Lene, the A and B are together in one motion. So if you want to add B in there too.
Okay, voluntary student insurance. It is recommended that the board approve United States Fire Insurance Company to provide voluntary student insurance for the 2020-2021 at no additional cost. So moved.
Second, Jen.
Oh, Jen beat me to it. All right, any discussion on these? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right.
Activities report. It's recommended that the board approve the activities and athletic accounts report for the quarter ending 4/29/20. See addendum 4. So moved.
Second, Amy. All right, any discussion there? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Homestead.
Yep, sorry.
Yep. Homestead Farmstead. It's recommended that the board approve resolution 06-20-01, authorizing the district to reduce homestead property taxes by an amount of $697,657.49 to be received by the Commonwealth from gaming funds under the provisions of the Homestead Property Exclusion Program Act, part of Act 50 of 1998, and the Taxpayers Relief Act, Act 1 of 2006. See Addendum 5. If subsequent to the adoption of this resolution, the Pennsylvania Department of Education notifies the school district that for the 2020 and 2021 fiscal year, it will receive a different property tax reduction allocation pursuant to the Taxpayer Relief Act, Act 1 of 2006, and/or any amendments thereto, then the maximum real estate assessed value reduction for the homestead and farmstead exclusions will be based upon the subsequently issued aggregate amount available for homestead and farmstead real estate tax reduction for the school year beginning July 1st, 2020, utilizing the above calculations. So moved.
Second, Amy. I just had a real quick question because I wasn't able to come to the finance committee meeting. Is this motion always this long, or did they add in some stuff because of COVID? Do we know? Dan, do you know?
Amy, yes, the second part of the motion was changed because at one point, about a month or so ago, there was a chance that the school district would not be getting the homestead monies from the state like we've got in the past. And although we've been promised now that we will get it, Andrews and Price wrote an additional section to this that allows the administration to make an adjustment if the state changes their mind, so we don't have to reconvene another meeting.
Oh, okay, good. I thought so. I just wanted to double check, and usually most of this stuff gets figured out and talked about in committee, so I wasn't there. Okay, anybody else have any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right.
KISS Flow. It is recommended that the board approve the purchase of an annual subscription license for the use of KISS Flow's finance, HR, maintenance operation, and transportation and technology modules at a cost of $8,280. This license will be for up to 125 users and will allow the district to convert aspects of its operations to paperless processes. So moved.
Second, Mike?
Second. Dan, I don't maybe have one more question for you. And will we use this for student activities, or are we going to start out with the things that were listed and then eventually roll it out if we like the way it's working?
I think that's more of a question for Mr. Ursu.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, this will not be used for student activities initially, but in the future it could be.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, that's probably a good idea to start with a select group and then see how it goes. And I just want to say how glad I am that we're adopting this, Mr. Ursu, and thank you for vetting some programs. I think this will really, really help out with a lot of that paper stuff, because that can be difficult. So good job checking this out and recommending one. I'll be excited to hear how it goes.
Thank you. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions, discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right.
Waive fee. It is recommended that the board agree to waive a late penalty and collection fee of $94.62 assessed against taxpayer Ryan Harold from a mid-year reassessment of his property, block and lot 215-L-32. So moved.
Second, Dan.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Administration. Are you muted?
Sorry, I was pulling up Sarah's resume and then I wasn't able to unmute myself.
Oh, yeah.
AIU technology agreement. It's recommended the board approve an agreement with the AIU to provide district technology services effective July 1, 2020 to June 30th, 2021, contingent upon review of agreement by the solicitor. This is a renewal of our current agreement, and because we've been doing a lot of work in that area, we're actually our cost is going down. We're going to decrease our cost by $3,500 a month, or I'm sorry, a year. I wish a month, but a year.
So move, Jen.
Second, Amy. Okay, any discussion on that? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Okay. Grants, it's recommended the board approve submission of the grants as listed.
So moved, Amy?
Second, Dan.
Dan, okay, great. Discussion obviously, but I think there was at least one person who spoke and inquiring about grants. So this is very timely. This is just a short list of sort of the ones that we do every year. And then on top of that, throughout the year, as grant opportunities arise, we hear about them, but mostly any grant's a good grant, and we apply for as many as we can. Any other discussion on this? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Okay, MOU with custodians. It's recommended the board approve an MOU with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees representing Northgate custodial and maintenance personnel, permitting their members to use their accrued vacation time through July 14, 2020. This provision shall be effective through the 14th and will not be available thereafter. This alteration will have no impact on any other part of the contract. And for our newer board members, we do this every year. It just allows us to plan the custodians their vacations around the summer cleaning.
So moved, Jen?
Second, Amy. All right, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
School doctor, it's recommended the board appoint Dr. Edward Snell as a school doctor for the mandated school physicals at $100 per hour.
So moved, Jen?
Second, Amy. Any discussion?
I think I picked the wrong profession.
Oh. Me too.
We've used him before, right?
You've been using him, I think it's for longer than I've been here.
Okay.
Yeah, and we used him back when I was at Northgate. He was learning under Dr. DeMeo. So, yeah.
And we have all sorts of documentation as far as, clearances and all that stuff, even in this case, right?
Yeah, everybody submits their clearances.
Is this the thing that is this different or the same thing as the kids who need physicals go to suburban general? Does this happen in the building?
Right. So this is I think it's 6th and Brian. 6th and 11th grade, I think, are when the mandated physicals are. So kids that don't get it from their private physicians can come to Dr. Snell.
Right. I don't know why I had my mind stuck on the sports physicals for the athletic season. And so I was like, wait, we tell people to go to Suburban General. I totally forgot about the mandated physicals that have to happen for, regular students, not athletes. Sorry about that. Thank you, though. Okay. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Okay, it's recommended the board approve the hiring of Sarah Leek as a full-time elementary teacher effective the beginning of the 2020-21 school year as recommended by the superintendent, beginning at step 1.
So moved, Jen?
Second, John.
So just real quick, we have not seen a loss of any students, and we are trending high for kindergarten, unusually high, which means I'm going to stop trying to predict anything with COVID.
Well, we knew all those parents with little strollers were heading our way eventually. So hopefully this is the beginning of that. And
yeah,
that
we're looking at close to 70, which is pretty unusual to be that high in June.
At this point.
And Mrs. Leek has been in our buildings this past year. She did an amazing job. And she has a Bachelor of Science in Education from Slippery Rock University. And she has certification elementary and early childhood, pre-K to 4. She has her middle level 4 through 8. That's in progress. And she is also a Google certified educator. So she really impressed us and did an outstanding job through the entire interview process. So
that's great.
Very excited to bring her on board. And she cried when she
When you told her?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so
She
wonderful.
loves Northgate. She is very committed to our students in our community. So
That's
we're excited to have her.
wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, that's really, really great. I'll send you an email just about, getting a picture and a little bit of a write-up about her, because that'll be.
Yeah, we have a couple of people. We could get all our new hires. So.
Yeah, I think that'd be really good. We were able to post about a coach, and it seemed to be well received. So I think that's a new way to go about that. But awesome. Okay. Great. Any other discussion on that? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. All right. And so now we're moving on to items for information.
Legislative no report, Madam President.
What?
No report.
No report. I'm sorry. I don't know. My brain's moving a little slow. That wasn't Zoom. It was totally me.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And the AW Beatty?
We are meeting this Thursday. We're trying it in person, so we'll let you know how that goes.
Oh, please do. Please do. All right. They had their graduation, whatever, or did they? I think
well, they made a video.
Okay.
Of the speeches from the various folks, and I'm not sure exactly how they distributed the diplomas, but
yeah,
they did prepare them a very nice video. Had messages from Mr. Heasley, from the superintendent of record, from the board president, and they had co-valedictorians.
Oh, that is wonderful. That's really great. Yeah, I thought so, but I couldn't remember exactly what they did. So maybe I'll poke around and see if they have like a link or anything to it, because we could throw that on our celebrating the class of 2020 section.
It's supposed to be on their website till the end of June.
Oh, well then that shouldn't be too difficult to find.
Right.
All right. Thank you for that. Okay, we have some old and new business here. So we'll start with PSBA voting delegates, and then if anybody else has anything that they'd like to discuss, you can unmute yourself and throw it on there.
As far as the PSBA voting delegates go, I mean, we might as well just throw some names in there. It says on here that it's going to be there November 7th of 2020. Just so you know where we're going, it's at Mountain View Middle School in the Cumberland Valley School District. Because the conference was canceled, they're moving. They're doing the delegate assembly at a local school district, and we'll have the platform and the bylaws to pass, and then all the reports from the executive director. If something should change and we should go back to red or something like that, then it will become a virtual meeting, and I'd like to see that happen. I'd like to see them try to do that. A couple hundred people on Zoom. That would be.
I have a question, Dan. When
Yes.
we last brought this up, I think Laureen had forwarded some information about it, and it made it sound like you could choose to drive there and vote in person, or you could choose to vote like via Zoom.
Okay. At this point, I'm not aware of any option for you to do an either or.
So do you think that was just like an old, like they had stated that at that point and then changed their mind? Because it was definitely like spelled out in there.
I remember it being discussed that it could be in person or it could be Zoom.
That's what it said in like the documents that.
But I don't remember it being. I don't remember it being discussed that you would have a choice.
Well, because I wouldn't mind signing up for it, but like I probably just want to Zoom in.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would have impact or anybody else who might be interested, like if that would impact anyone's decision.
I mean, we can find out for sure, but I think the or in there was because they didn't know which, but I don't think it involved a choice.
I think if you're going to at this point, volunteer to be a part of it, you should be prepared to drive there.
Yeah.
If by chance it changes to Zoom, then that's fine. But just from what I've heard at other districts, that what Dan said is also my understanding, that they are planning to do it at a school where people actually go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to do it. I mean, I'm chair of the bylaws committee. I have to be there to report out, so
So
I'll
we
be
just
there.
need one other person.
Unless two people are interested, then I can just do my board position and not worry about the delegate.
I'm interested also.
So should we put Dan and Mike down? That sounds good to me if you guys are cool with it. Yeah. Okay, great.
Okay.
So
It is recommended the board approve Dan and Mike's Northgate's 2 voting delegates to the November 7th PSBA Delegate Assembly. So moved.
Second, John.
Okay, any discussion on that? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I would just like to say thank you, a lot of thank you to Dan for being so active in the education community and the PSBA, and your recent election to the AIU board. It's just really great that we're small, but we've got you out there all the time, advocating for education and Northgate and keeping us in the loop. And so thank you for that, Dan. And thank you, Mike, for volunteering to drive to New Cumberland. You're good board member. Thank you.
I just wanted to publicly recognize and congratulate Mr. O'Keefe for his recent election to the AIU board. I think that's really a positive benefit for our district.
Here, here.
Yeah, definitely. We're really, really proud of you. And it was a competition. There were a lot of candidates. And so that's just really, really great. Good job for that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other old or new business?
I have something to say.
Yes, Lene.
I just want to, thank you, Caroline, for reading that statement at the beginning. I want to say, as a Black parent in Northgate, I wish I could report that we haven't had to deal with systematic racism or daily microaggressions, but we have. I did have to call and talk to teachers at the high school level for my students within the past couple of years. And on a daily basis, unfortunately, I have to teach my kids that sometimes you just got to deal with it, that it's there and it's not going away. And I would hope that as we move forward as a district, that I have to have less and less of these conversations. And I understand that coming to terms with racism and the way we do things and changing is difficult to admit when you've made mistakes or you didn't understand the impact that words or actions can have on children and families on a daily basis. I mean, things could be within the very best intentions and just be a total disaster for Black children and children of color. I mean, there's been countless incidents that I've personally had to deal with. So I just want to say that I'm going to hold you to this change. And it's going to be a tough conversation with teachers. I mean, even the conversations I had, I was met with great resistance and just challenging me that I was wrong, which is another problem. And in the same vein, I treat any allegations of racism, discrimination, 100% serious. And I do not think that this situation with Christine should go without a full investigation and remedied appropriately. I mean, I am quite disturbed at what I hear, and under no circumstance should I believe that this should go without being dealt with in a proper manner, looked at thoroughly, and handled accordingly. I mean, that's the first step. I mean, listening to what we have to say. Do not let another person be dismissed, as I was many times with my complaints. We cannot continue to ignore the voices of the people in our community and the Black voices. It's not jibber jabber. We're not complaining. These are serious allegations. These are real life effects on mental health, success, and well-being. If you take the time to look at the articles and the detriment that racism does, it doesn't matter your wealth, your income, it affects Black people equally. You can be in the wealthiest district. Your parents can be millionaires and you have the same rate of incarceration, no matter your resources. This is a serious problem. It needs to be dealt with seriously and should not be dismissed. And I hope that the board takes this seriously and investigates it and remedies it appropriately. Like, I will be personally offended if it's swept under the rug and not addressed properly.
Well, I think Mrs. Lumsden, like one thing you said, and like I mentioned, I read that book and I sat with it for a little while because I thought I don't know where to start with it. But I just kind of wanted to ponder a little bit. And as I thought more and more about it, I think I don't want to just say, okay, we're going to do a program, because I don't think that gets to the issues. I think it is those discussions and those uncomfortable discussions. And that's kind of where I'm leaning towards at the board level, at the teacher level, with the parents, community. I think the students need to be at the table for that discussion. And I think they have to be ongoing, because I think we have to start to unearth. Well, first of all, I think we have to educate ourselves, because I can tell you, I've been in education a long time, and it is truly by the grace of our Black families and the time that they have spent with me, and I can't even tell you, like, to me, it's an honor. They have sat with me and shared their experiences so openly. And I look back on that and think about what a gift they've given me, because, when I think about our kids, they're really my kids. I mean, at the bottom of all this, I'm a total mama bear. And I think about the world that we're sending them out into, and what is my responsibility to prepare them and to make this world better for them. So I'm looking forward to these conversations, because I think we have a great community. I think we can start to tackle this and actually make some noticeable change. But I think it starts with the conversation and with educating ourselves. And then we start to get into, like, what are the programs, looking at curriculum and those types of things. And that's why I was saying, I think this is many years that it's going to take. I don't want it to be a one-shot deal where we say, well, we're teaching this curriculum and that's it. I think if you just throw a curriculum at a problem without having those conversations about the underlying beliefs, you don't really make a change in the system. So I have to say, I'm looking forward to these conversations, because I think, I'm not at the end of my career, but I'm certainly not at the beginning. And, this is something I feel very passionate about. And I feel like I'm not retiring, by the way. I mean, I'm not that old. So
Better not. You'll have a whole angry mob at you for.
This is an area where I feel very passionate that before my career does conclude, I'd like to be able to say I've made a change and, was instrumental in making a change for our Black families and, most importantly, our students. So.
And let me just leave you with this thought. For all the stories that you heard and people willing to come and talk to you, there were dozens for each story that you didn't hear, who were afraid to come forward, who thought that it was pointless, or who thought, in the case of the Penningtons, that the follow through was just not going to be there. So I think it's important that we make this precedent and say that we are going to stand with what we believe and follow up and believe in what we say through our actions, so people will be more comfortable coming to us and telling those stories and saying, hey, I feel uncomfortable. This is what happened to me. Are you going to listen? And I can expect you to do something about it. So that's my challenge for the board and the district, is to implement, a system of listening and valuing the feedback and follow through. So I thank you for that. And I'm happy to help you along this journey and make us a better district for all of its citizens.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Johns, and for even putting forth the effort, because one of the big things is just listening, learning, and growing from this, because we all, Max, my dog, is also growing, but learning from these things and growing and changing personally is the toughest thing. At first, it's offensive for someone to point out the things that you might be doing wrong. Once you start to understand, then you realize that you have to continue growing for so long. It's never going to be over. I will continue to make mistakes. We will all continue to make mistakes, but getting it right in the listening part is going to be our first step to making this better. And I hope that everyone else on the board agrees. Thanks.
Yeah, and Lene, I just wanted to thank you for your bringing your perspective and sharing it and trusting us to listen and take you seriously. And I'm grateful for all of our board members, but it's just a real blessing that you joined when you did. Looking back, it's just really great to have you here and to be so courageous and help us as we navigate this this issue that's come to light. I think we all knew it was kind of there in the background, but didn't really have, the capacity to take it seriously. So thank you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for everything. It's just really glad to have you here. Anybody else, old, new business? Okay. So we have really exciting dates to remember. I'll be excited when we have something other than school board meeting dates on here. And I think we'll send the information mentioned tonight. We're gonna have our July meeting. So we'll get that information out, posted to the website. And I guess that's it. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second, John?
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Thanks.
Bye.